Hey guys, it's KK, and today's layout is with the Scrappy Challenges group. We are using this bingo card to create a layout this week, and I chose the line right through the center right there, the 4 or more pattern papers, the single photo, the free space, no cardstock, and using paint. Going into the layout, I already have in mind to do an 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to go ahead and trim my photo down just because I want to make it a bit smaller and free up some space on the layout for pattern paper and embellishments. I'm using a paper pad that I purchased at Tuesday Morning, and it's the Shamil True Stories line. However, the pattern paper that I find in those paper pads, it doesn't quite seem thick enough to handle the layers of paper with photos, with embellishments, and everything else that I want to put on it. So what I do when I have a paper pad like this is I get it and I go to my stash and I just find like 5 or 6 different papers in my stash that are the thicker quality, the individual sheets that you buy for like 99 cents a piece. Those papers, I just find like 5 or 6 of them that I think would make good backgrounds, and I just put them with the paper pad. So for instance, all those polka dots and that plaid and the wood grain, all of those are single sheets that I purchased, and I just use those for the background, and I use the pattern paper pad more for embellishment and layering, if that makes sense. So I go ahead and layer my papers behind the photo and create a few mats. Now I'm going to work on the background of the layout. Starting out with this red and white polka dot from Echo Park. It's from the Playground collection, and I really bought this collection for the B sides. The A sides are not my taste at all. But I'm going to trim this down, and I do leave the branding strip on just because I'm trying to stretch the paper just a little bit. And once I get that, I want to create this band at the top, kind of on a diagonal. So I'm going to go to that paper pad again and pull out some paper from there. And the one that I end up deciding on is that one right there that you can see to the left. And I decided on that one for a couple of reasons. Number one, it incorporated several of the colors in the collection. And number two is I kind of thought it gave the illusion that there were several pieces of paper layered on top to give that whole band versus just one single sheet of paper. So once I get that laid down and I've trimmed it down with my craft knife, I'm going to bring in some washi, and I'm just really bringing this in for interest and another layer. And I have this navy blue doily and some light green washi that I bring in at the top right and the bottom left. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and create my biggest block or my biggest layer of pattern paper on the page. And at this point, I'm also thinking about the fact that I need to bring in some paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this white acrylic paint, and I'm going to add some, I think it was Heidi Swap Color Shine and Tinsel. I'm going to add that in just to create this kind of just a basic gray paint, and I'm going to use that to create some type of matte behind my photo. So here I am just mixing it up. I'm going to test it out on the pattern paper. It looks great. I like the color. It's fine. I make some more of it just because I'd rather have too much than not enough. Once I get that done, I'm going to mark where my photo is, and I'm just going to make sure that I extend it above, below, and to the right of the photo because I want to make sure you can see the paint. Now at this time, life is great. This layout is going wonderfully. I'm happy with the color of the paint. I'm not going over it 2 and 3 times. I'm just kind of doing it evenly and just being careful not to like rub the paper too much. And then I take it and I do some mist on it and I hit it with the heat gun and it's dried. And this is where it falls apart. It worked, like majorly. Not even just like a little bit, but like major. But I was going to see it through. I was like, I like the way it looks. I'm just going to go with it. It's going to even out at some point. I'm sure it will get better. Just keep going. So I glue my photo down, and I like where it is. I like the way it looks. I'm happy with everything. I even commit to bringing in this sticker where I'm going to put my title and start working on my title. Bring in all my thickers and my alphas and get the title down, and everything looks great, except it still worked, like majorly worked. So I take some adhesive and I just put it back there, and I think I'll just glue it down. It'll be fine. Keep going. But it was just horrible. It was so warped, and I just did not like it at all. I was so unhappy with it because I just couldn't stand the fact that it was so warped. So at this point, I remembered that prior to starting the layout, I had seen this wood veneer in this Heidi Swap package right there, and I wanted to use that for my title, but somehow I got away from that. So what do? Start the whole thing over. I just really wasn't happy with the direction that the layout was going, but I decided I was at that point where either I was going to go full steam ahead and just deal with it, or I was going to turn back around and salvage what I could. So once I made the decision, it was easy to just tear up that top layer of paper and cut a new one and get everything laid back down on the background paper. At this point, I bring in the paint again. The same technique, the white acrylic paint with some Heidi Swap Color Shine, this time in velvet, because I wanted it to be a bit darker. Since I was painting on wood, I wasn't sure how much of the pigment or the paint would be absorbed into the wood veneer itself. Once I got that painted and hit with the heat tool, I really liked the way it turned out, but it wasn't standing out on the layout at all. I felt like you couldn't really read what it said because of all the layers and the different colors and the numbers. So I went ahead and just backed it with some more pattern paper and then put it on some foam dots. And I think it came out really nice. I like the way it added that movement to the page because everything on this page is really boxy, and that one big title gives it some movement. And at this point, I'm going to start focusing on the embellishments. I'm bringing in these die cuts from Simple Stories, and I'm just kind of looking for a few pieces that will add some texture or some more layers to the layout itself. I'm not really looking to add a lot of dimension because I feel like there's a lot of pattern going on. I'd like to keep it relatively simple so it doesn't get overwhelming. I have this tab here that I think it says like Wednesday on it, and I don't know, that doesn't have anything to do with it. I just like the color, so I went ahead and used it there. I also bring in a label right here at the bottom. You'll see that I lay that there over the washi, and I'm going to come in with my tiny attacher on the left hand side and just add a couple of staples, and that's where I'm going to do my tiny journaling. I also thought I might bring in a couple more things, but I thought I needed a pop of red there at the very top, and I went to that sticker book from the Chamel collection to find something to go there. I thought about bringing in some wood veneers, but since I'd painted the one that I did have on the page, I didn't want to have to paint the other one, so I gave up on the idea quickly. So I just added that little red banner there at the top and some black gems, and that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this fiasco and this mess that I've made, but it turned out nice in the end. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.